Hey, this is the Christopher Complex Show. It is a beautiful, beautiful day today. It's May, and I don't know about where you are in your world, but man, it's been cold lately. It's been very, very cold. So let's get into it, man. Christopher Complex shows about our complexity, about everything that we do, and I just always felt that we are many different things. I mean, as I said before. There's trillions of cells in us, so we cannot just be one thing. So I just want to honor and respect somebody that definitely understands their complexity, understands that their personal diversity. I was watching that new LA's Finest the other day, and I looked at Jessica Alba, and I was like, man, she's an actress, a billionaire. She has her own company, and it's just a reminder that you can do more than one thing. You may have to focus on one thing at one time. But even I was checking out Tony Robbins, man, and he had like a seminar the other day. And this dude was like, I got 54 companies. Like 54 companies, man. I'm trying to get like 2 of them started. But anyway, I just think that's really cool. That's really incredible. What's happening with me? I just came from that ASCAP Expo. It was in the beginning of May. It was in Los Angeles. Got a chance to get out and get to Los Angeles and just check that out. If you haven't been to LA, which surprisingly a lot of people haven't, get out to LA. If you haven't gotten a chance to just get out and do your thing, where you have to get on a plane and go to a seminar, you have to get out and go somewhere on a business trip, you definitely got to do that. Some people are going to say, man, I do that every day. But there's a lot of people that don't do that. And those are the people that I just wanted to bring that message to. There's nothing like booking a hotel, booking an air flight, getting that whole thing going, and you're on a business trip, and you're doing your thing, and it's related to your dreams, related to your purpose, it's related to who you are and what value you're going to bring to the world. What value you're going to bring to yourself and your family. Is nothing like that. So I went out to ASCAP Expo. It was in the beginning of May. It was the 14th annual. I'm going to go back for the 15th annual. And I just have to say, for a convention that has to do with the music industry, this was incredible. It was really incredible. I know there's other incredible conventions, expos, but this was incredible. I'm a songwriter, as you guys know. If you don't know, now you know. And just to hear other songwriters and hear other people tell you how to make it, how to get in, it's incredible. It's incredible to get that knowledge and it's being shared. Of course, you got to pay a ticket to get there, but by the time you get 1 or 2 things that you never heard before, never seen before, never even thought of before, the value of $300 ticket, man, that's cheap. That's cheap because when you are taking care of your goals, your dreams, and you're working on that, and you're in an environment where people are with you on that, and they are trying to support you and support themselves, and that energy is incredible. That energy is just awe-inspiring, and you just you grow, and that's what life is about. Life is about growing and growth. So I want to get into the ASCAP a little bit more in this episode. Just at the top, just wanted to plug a couple of things that I've seen, a couple of things that you guys may have seen in the news. I'm a board member of a company called Hook Arts Media. We're in Red Hook, Brooklyn. Basically, we get into low-income neighborhoods, families, schools, and we help kids learn media, film, the Adobe Suite, stuff like that, so they can learn how to get a profession at the end of the course. We're in a couple of schools. We're going to have an episode strictly on Hook Arts Media, so you definitely want to check them out. You can Google Hook Arts Media and you can see what we're about. We are looking for people to get involved and help the organization get better. And then there's another thing that I saw that I just really got interested in. I got family that's into cannabis, and they're starting something really cool, and they're getting ready to get a dispensary in a particular state in America And then people started talking about CBD. I knew about it for a while. It's starting to grow. There's a CBD festival coming into New York. If anybody's listening to this, anybody's into CBD, hit me back up at the Chris Complex. Let me know what you're into, because maybe we can get connected and grow. CBD is a chemical in cannabis. It helps with inflammation and joints and just muscles. And what people are doing is they're growing hemp. And this was also on the Today Show earlier this week. They're growing hemp and extracting the oil and adding it to products, or just, directly applying it to the skin, to areas that hurt. And so far, people are saying it's a miracle. I'm not surprised. The most highest green earth, the galaxy's earth, has all the properties in it. Anyway, even Dr. Oz said it. Dr. Axe even said that. And so many other people that just know that this world has everything that we need if we would just use the world correctly and make sure we nurture the world and not pollute it so much. All of the medicines that we need are right here on God's green earth. So I don't know if you guys have been looking at CBD. It's already $1 billion company. Me personally, I'm also involved in some stocks online when it comes to cannabis. As you guys know, last October, Canada was really, really, really opening up the field and made it legal to get into cannabis. So I'm trying to get into that whole uphill climb, because one day all of this stuff is really going to be almost like a blue chip stock and stuff like that. So what's up with me? I just came from ASCAP Expo. I'm into the music. If anybody is looking for beats, music, song, I just want to keep that out there. You can get in touch with me at the Chris Complex, or on Instagram at FunkyC, FUNCKIEC, and you can hit me up, and you can also see what I do there. Or if you guys want to collab, just letting you know that I'm up for all of that. So I just came back from the ASCAP Expo, and so many things. But the one thing that I can share without, devaluing the ASCAP Expo is something that my mom and I, we used to always talk about, and it was a very, very simple concept. And that very simple concept is tremendous, and it's the concept of just showing up. So I went out there to get some more connections, get into the network, get into the circle. So I'm taking a panel, and I'm looking at the panel, and in the panel, so the question, of course, is how do you get to, get in the circle, to get the work, write the songs for, mega stars, or how did you just get your career going? And the common answer was, a lot of times the panelists didn't specifically know how it actually happened, like what was the thing, but they knew what they were doing, and it was a very simple thing, and it was just showing up. Just showing up is half the battle. And I guess what they were trying to say at the end of the day is when you show up and you're there, you're present, you're always around, people start to notice you. The organic process of, hey, this person, is pretty cool. We've seen him a couple of times. We've seen him in the circles, in the arenas, and, we're looking for this. Hey, man, can we give you a shot, because we see you all the time. So obviously you're here, you're serious, and maybe you have the product that we have to offer. So the simple message in that is just show up. We tend to over prepare, I guess, and just get it in our minds that we have to be at a certain state before we can participate and get into whatever it is that we are involved in. But I guess what I want to talk about today is just show up, just get there, just be involved, just be present, just be consistent. Just be consistent in what you're trying to do, and be consistent in your attendance. And the funny thing is about that, just show up. We were in elementary school and other schools, and they used to take your attendance. And if you look at your grades, like right now, there's a program called Pupil Path that the teachers are using, and attendance is a factor in your overall grade if you're a student right now. And as simple as it sounds, attendance and just showing up, you get graded on that. It's funny. I showed up today, so I'm going to get a grade. Can you imagine that? I showed up, so I'm going to get a grade. Wow. That's just incredible. So just showing up, it means a lot. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. So my mom is an artist, and she's also a writer, and she had this idea to write a book, like many people do. And she has her own. She has her own book. She has this like a memoir, and she had the idea to read excerpts from the book as she was writing it. And this is going to show an example of just showing up. So it's not her show. Well, anyway, let's just get to the story. So she's writing this book, and it's about the South, and she is also a painter. She does, abstract art. She works with one of her friends at her gallery, at the Friends Gallery, and they come up with the idea of reading, excerpts from the book, or rather, my mom does. So that sidebar, that goes to tell you, when your mind tells you ideas, act upon it, because you just don't know where it's going to take you. Your subconscious definitely knows. So, and this is also in relation to showing up. So she reads her excerpt from the book. Again, it's not ready, it's not finished, but she reads it. And she reads it, and her delivery is very powerful. And it details what happens in the South. She's very descriptive about what you can see. And sometimes, a lot of times, books that are very descriptive that put you in the place of storytelling, it really has an effect, such as like Game of Thrones. Very descriptive writing in those books. So she's descriptive. She's explaining what you see. She's bringing you to her world in the book. It's the first time she's doing this. She's in the company of other artists, curators, family members, and friends. So when she finishes this reading, this one of the first readings that she did, I think it's the first one, in a gallery, there was a person who was an art collector, who I guess in a sense could validate what she just did, but she also had a friend who, let's just say, for lack of a better expression or phrase or word, didn't see it yet. So when it was over, this art collector, this person that appreciates art and sees lots of art in so many places and is always around art and in the art scene of New York City, gets emotional about the reading, collects himself and comes back and says, "That was one of the most incredible things I've heard, and everyone should be aware of what's going on and should pay attention to this story." Now, versus that, there is a curator, or the person that she knows, that didn't see it yet. And what's so funny about that is sometimes if your conscious is in the way, and your conscious valuations is in the way, you can't see something new that's going to be hot, or going to be the new thing, or something that's brewing, or something that should be aware of, or you should pay attention to. So long story short, she finishes the reading. She gets the positive comment from the art collector, and the curator, who is supposed to be a friend, is kind of like dumbfounded and just doesn't get it. Now, how does that relate to just showing up? And how does that relate to the ASCAP Expo that I just saw, where panelists say, just show up? She created an idea or a thought in her head that said, I want to do X, Y, Z to my book. I want to just read it. It's not finished, but I'm just going to read it. She got out of her way, and she created a date for people to show up She worked in collaboration with the gallery owner, and she asked her fan base, as small as it was, to just show up. And she also asked other people that did not know her to just show up. And she just showed up. In showing up, something happens. Something happens in energy, I guess, in metaphysicalness or something like that. Something happens when you just show up to just do what you said you was going to do. And other people show up as audience, as attention, as representatives of attention or whatever it is. So you got a performer and audience, and everybody's just showing up. Just showing up affected the collector's soul. And he showed up in his way by saying, this is good work. And what happened after that is the artist, my mom, started getting requests to do it again, to just show up again. And with her showing up to do her art, with her showing up to support other artists, you get community. Community starts to bring you up, bring up your purpose, bring up what you are trying to do. And that community has this, I guess this thing, I forgot. I think Erykah Badu said it simply. I show up to your shit, you show up to mine. And something is going to happen. Art scene, music scene. If you're not in the art scene, in the music scene, and you're in a different industry, that could be electrical, that could be, computers, it could be social media, it could be construction, but showing up to come to a common ground, to a common place, to share ideas, there's magic in that. There's a lot of magic in that. So she showed up in her thought process by executing on her idea of, I want to take my book and just show up and read it. She showed up when she collaborated with the art gallery, and the art gallery showed up when they made the space available, and the audience showed up to acknowledge. The audience could have been just her friends, but she had an audience, and that one person that she really didn't have a relationship with, which was also good, because this is a person that you don't have a relationship with yet, decides to not hold back what is in his thought, but he showed up by saying this is good and explained to the audience why this is good, and that helped with influence tell the curator who did not get it yet that this is good stuff. And hopefully that person's ego didn't get hurt, but anyway, just showing up will allow that to happen. So what does that mean to you? If you have a project, if you have something going on, start showing up for yourself. Start showing up to other people's things. It's just like having a party. If I have a party because I want to turn 15, or I want to, I'm turning 30, not want to turn 15. If you're turning 15, if you're 30, and you have a party and you want people to show up, that's what makes the party happen. That someone showed up. That's what makes it work. Someone showed up. So you show up. And then when you show up, show out sometimes. But that's one of the things I got from the ASCAP Expo. So if you're into music, show up. Go to people's things. Like tonight, I gotta show up to somebody's album release party, and I'll just keep it real. On my, I guess, other side, and we talked about this in my last episode, laziness side, I don't want to go, but I'm gonna go because I gotta show up. So anyway, hopefully you got something out of that, and that's what this whole podcast is about, is sharing ideas, getting something out of stuff like that, and just, seeing if we can build and increase and get better. So this is the Christopher Complex. I'm going to make this one real short, and I will have to say, showing up, the last thing I want to say about showing up is me doing this podcast on time a lot of times, and it was just great to just get that lesson about showing up. So we're gonna show up some more on the podcast and get this sucker to grow. So if the sun is gonna show up and water, if the sun is gonna show up and bring light to the plants, and the water is gonna show up and bring water to the seeds and the plants gonna show up by creating a bloom or a blossom or a beautiful tree for us to show up to and admire under a clear blue sky, and just something with that show up thing. I think we need to get into that a little bit more. But anyway, this is the Christopher Complex. You can check me out at the Christopher Complex or at ChristopherComplex.com, on Twitter at the Chris Complex, on Instagram. My other, I guess you could say, moniker or my name, Funky C, FUNCKIEC. Just hit me up, say what's up. Talk to you soon. Peace.